Gundam.tk presents Gurren Lagann. Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Robert184, usually from Gundam.tk, but today I'll be continuing my look at Gurren Lagann. And don't forget to check out part 1 to see all the parts and details of this non-Bandai Kotobukiya kit. For putting it together, you'll see that there's nothing difficult here except that this peg is off-centered and that the side skirts are a little bit easy to knock off. For the arms, you're just going to plug this in. Finally, you'll just plug this brown piece into the bottom of the torso and then plug that into the waist section. When that's all done, you have a completed Gurren Lagann. Then, by simply attaching the wings onto the back and the sunglasses on the front, and when it's all put together, here you have the completed Tengen Kado Gurren Lagann. And I have to say, as far as first impressions go, I am really impressed with the overall look of this kit. Mostly because even though it has a lot of small parts and color differences all over the place, sort of unlike a high-grade Gundam kit, for example, from Seed or Seed Destiny, they actually took the time to put the colors in almost everywhere. That being said, I was really looking forward to this kit sort of standing beside my Gundams, especially my Amuro RX-78-2, as equals. So let's see how it looks next to a Master Grade RX-78-2. Yes, as you can see, it is ridiculously tiny, which is incredibly disappointing. In fact, for size, if you were building this kit, you could call it a high-grade Gundam kit, because here it is beside an average-size Gundam, in this case Exio Repair 2, from high-grade 00 line, and it's about the same size. The difference being, remember that this is 3,800 yen, and I think this was what, maybe 1,200? On the right we have another Amuro Ray suit, in this case the Reborn's Gundam, and this is 23 meters, and then this is 1/44th scale. But to give you an idea again in price, this is 1,600 yen, and this is 3,800 yen. That being said, I did have to paint the purple parts here on the chest, although they do give you a seal, and you have to put on a fair bit of black seals for the lining effect. So I give this one props for not having to have too many seals. That being said, this kit is way too small for the price. Maybe it makes up for in posability what it's missing out in size, but here, as you saw before, the ankles move very well. The front skirt armor can pop off if you bring this too far forward, and as I said, these side skirts like to fall off at the drop of a hat. However, I do like the effect with the shoulders because it sort of looks like muscles in there, as do the effect of the biceps. And those, even though you don't get a 90 degree, they can spin around and you can still get him to bring his arms up, but not quite enough to make a truly angry over the head face. That being said, whatever you do with the arms, you're able to pivot the shields around so that you can always have them facing down. It also does have some mobility down here on the waist where it can rotate and move a tiny bit here because there is a mechanism inside. And there's no problem folding up the wings and getting them out of the way, other than the fact that you can't add in those two drills very well. In terms of posing, they don't give you a lot of ideas on the box, and usually that's a sign that there's really not all that much you can do with it. But so far I'm not unhappy with the leg mobility, and when he has his sunglasses ready to throw, yeah, it doesn't look all that bad actually. The Giga Drill seems a little bit small, but that is something we can fix with the extra attachments that they gave us. With the posing of the arms though, it is very easy to pop these elbows out. Here's the pose I've really been waiting for. Yes, that's a 15 centimeter Giga Drill made out of paper craft that you can attach on top of the regular Giga Drill. So how do you get the massive drill? Well, basically you're going to get this folded up piece of cardboard, which is 2 pieces of A4 just bent over, and what you do is you just follow the lines to cut everything out, and then every line is either marked as something that you cut or you fold. And when you do that, I think you cut out about, 6 parts, but you're going to have the large cone put on a base, then you put on a smaller wrap and then put on a base, and then you actually build a small thing that actually, when you put it inside, you have the cone there, and then you're just going to put in the regular Giga Drill, and it'll stay in place, and it's actually perfectly fitting. So how do you put everything together? Well, you can glue it, but this thing doesn't want to stay in shape unless you keep it there for quite a while. So I had to use a lot of tape there, and I was using glue, and then the glue wasn't enough, so I put on a bunch of paper, and you can see all the fold and cut marks there. So overall, I have to say that this thing is pretty ugly. However, that being said, it is a nice bonus, and it sort of gives this Gurren Lagann, which is completely missing any of its massive awesomeness that it has in the anime, well, this gives it just a small touch of it. So the real question, of course, is this kit worth 3,800 yen? And over on the left, we have a guest appearance from Bandai's Master Grade Victory Gundam, which came out in December, and as everybody knows, I was quite excited to build. And on the right, if we take away his Giga Drill, you get an idea of the Gurren Lagann. Now, as far as size goes, because the Victory Gundam is not that big, but it does look bigger than this one. So let's talk about value. First of all, this is 3,800 yen, this is 3,800 yen, so they're identical in price. As far as mobility goes, I'd have to give the edge slightly to Gurren Lagann, but on the other hand, in terms of complexity, there's just absolutely no touching the Victory Gundam. And that's because it can transform, and because it can transform, of course, it loses out on mobility. But just in terms of the build, when I was building this, I was like, wow, you can really tell how much effort they've put into the engineering of this kit. So because I really think that the Gurren Lagann doesn't compare to the Master Grade Victory Gundam despite being the same price, I would put this Gurren Lagann in the exact same category as the High Grade Universal Century High New Gundam. And this is a kit that sells for 2,200 yen. But again with this, you don't need seals and you don't need seals to make them look good. This one has a ton of different colors and a bunch of small parts that puts everything together. Good posability and the cool factor from the movable wings that pretty much let you do anything. So for me, if Kotobukiya had charged me 2,200 yen for this kit, I think I would have zero complaints whatsoever. But for 3,800, I'm sorry, you guys should be buying Master Grades from Bandai at that price, because even from Bandai for 2,500 yen, you can buy things like the Shining and the God, and I have to say that those are better than this kit, despite it being a 2009 release. So now some final thoughts on this kit, the Tengen Kado Gurren Lagann. And I have to say that when I watched the anime, I was really, really impressed. And I know that there are a lot of lovers and haters out there for that series, but I thought it was a really entertaining, good ride. And when I found out that they had model kits, I was really disappointed to see that they were all about 800 yen. And when I cracked open the box, they looked horrible. I would say first grade Exia puts those 800 yen Kotobukiya kits to shame. That being said, the fact that this kit was 3,800 yen, even though I saw that it has a pretty small box, I put aside my misgivings and I said, hey, if they've got an 800 one, that's high grade, 3,800 yen one, that's got to be master grade. And when I think of this in terms of a master grade Gundam, I'm disappointed. That being said, if I think of it just in terms of the show in isolation, actually I'm not unhappy with this kit, though it just feels a little bit expensive. It's got decent posability, it's got the fact that you don't have to use stickers all over the place is always appreciated, and I think it looks good and it captures the feeling and the sense and the scale and proportion of the mecha in the show. So I have to give them full props for that. Something like this papercraft thing, well yeah, it's cheesy and everything like that, but again, it's just that kind of bonus that when I put him on the shelf with this on, he's just going to stand out that much more, which is really what he should be doing. So I've learned a couple things about this. First of all, I would say that if you watch a cool show like Gurren Lagann, the thing that I wanted to go find was the Revoltech figures, but they're all sold out almost all over the place, and the ones that I've seen are all expensive secondhand. But it really, really has taught me a lesson about the quality of Bandai kits overall. Because the thing about Gundams is that they're always on sale. They're not like toys like Revoltech where you have to buy them and hit or miss, and if you don't catch them when the show comes out and it's popular, you're never going to get them again. So you can buy Gundam kits anytime. The prices are very reasonable, especially on older master grades, and even some of the newer ones, though the prices has slowly increased into the 3,800, 4,500, 5,000 yen range. You're still getting a lot of value. And when you build a master grade Gundam, you're impressed with the way you put it together. When I built this one, I was a little bit frustrated saying, well, why did they do this? And why doesn't this part want to go in? And why are these parts falling off after the fact? Bottom line, don't expect this kit to come out here and pierce the heavens with its awesomeness. But that being said, overall, I'm still not unhappy I bought it. If I spent a lot of money to import it though, I'd probably be complaining a lot more. Anyway, as always everybody, thanks for watching and stay tuned for lots more reviews. And you know what? Yeah, I'm going back to Bandai. Kotobukiya, you didn't do enough for me to stick with you after this. Anyway, stay tuned for lots more reviews. As always, Robert184, gundam.tk. Everybody say it with me. Giga Drill Breaker. Come to mention it, papercraft isn't all that bad.